I mentioned in a previous video that I had bought this dual fuel wood coal boiler. A little bit of a gamble. Got it real cheap. It was laying over on its side outdoors, and I knew that it may or may not be cracked. I'm hoping for the best. When I got it home and we put it in the heated barn, water did seep out of the bottom as it thawed, but I believe that's from just the groundwater seeping in between the sections, because there was there was even some foliage growing and sending roots in between those sections, and those aren't, you know, completely sealed on the outside. So hopefully the actual, you know, push nipples and everything on the inside are good. So I put the flanges on with sealant, and I capped the outlet and the inlet, and I rigged up a pressure gauge. So I'm going to pressurize this thing to maybe about 20 psi, and we will shut the valve and we will leave it pressurized, and we will see what happens. Yeah, I guess we'll just leave that. It looks like we're dead on 20, maybe a hair under, and we'll see how it looks after a half hour or so. Starting on a new project, which should be fairly simple. Going to make a base for the Peerless power hacksaw that has 2 rollers at the back and a steerable roller at the front, and then 4 jack screws to basically lift it off of the rollers once we have it in a position we like. And so went the quick and easy way. These plates will make, just got to put some holes in them. But then we had the stands for the rollers sent out and cut at send cut send, and so those will just mount here and here. And then we've got a steerable nose piece on this one, like that. That's going to be retained by a, it's not really a washer, but it's going to be a shouldered retainer that'll be welded to that. And so this can actually pivot. All the hardware we bought from McMaster Car, so we'll have shoulder bolts going through there. Let me show you one of the rollers. These are sintered metal rollers from Hamilton Caster that have needle bearings inside and a seal. And so these will be on that. Nice heavy load carrying wheel. And I got a piece of 1/2-inch ID thick wall tubing to make for the handle, and just basically cut a bridge piece, the handle, and then like 2 hand grips to hold on to it. So first thing will be to work on these. I'm going to use the coupling nuts, and I'm going to put that in the lathe, face it, and use that as a mandrel to hold the this washer piece. Skim cut the OD, put the shoulder in it, and then I'm just going to make a mating step shoulder. And I think I'll do this piece on the K&T rather than switching over my 4-jaw chuck. I'll just put this on the K&T and enlarge that bore to clear the step and make this geometry match what I do here. The big plates we'll just do on the 1880s drill press. That'll be fun. Okay, let's get cracking. Since we're kind of just freestyling this, we want to just see what our OD is, and then we make our counterbore to match. 1.7355, so we'll go 1.75. This is 3/8 thick material. Let's check the actual. 389, 388.5. So we'll make a 200 thousandths deep step, and we'll go 0.1875 deep on the mating part. I'm going to set up our stop with a 200 thousandths gauge block. So you can see what I'm doing. The tool is touching the face, and we'll dial in an additional 200 thousandths of travel here. And then I'll just bring the carriage up until it stops. And that's 200 thousandths deep, right? We'll do the same for the shoulder depth. And come in about that far. And we'll see what that diameter is. So you got the body on the Spitfire.
Yep, it was a bit of a challenge getting all the bolt holes for the body mounts lined up because there is nothing to the underside of the car anymore. Yeah. So it's all flexing apart.
And there's two places here where it's split. You can see this right in the middle on the firewall. And the body was actually like spreading out down at the bottom and wasn't mating up with the body mount. So
I thought I just had the dimensions wrong, but I got one of the bolts in and then pulled a ratchet strap around this corner and just winched it in until that one lined up too.
Right, right. Well, and then you weld it up. Cool.
One more trailing arm or control arm.
Those ones at the front here.
Yeah, got to do the passenger side, and I'll be ready to put it back on the ground.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to start working on the Peerless mobile base parts.
Don't use that. It finally made a spark.
Yeah, time for a new cord. It didn't shock you, did it?
No, but it was like right there. It's just.
Yep. Time for a new cord. I think 50 to 60 years out of a cord is enough, right? Hang on, you're gonna run over all my straps. They're both leaning out. Isn't that the one that has the longer axle?
Yeah, they shouldn't be at different angles.
Yeah, they should.
No, not the wheels. Not really.
Yeah, if one axle's longer, it's going to tilt out more. Because the tops are...
No, the wheels don't come out at that much different angles. It's the upright things that's the biggest difference.
Which controls the
No, they don't.
spindle.
The axle, the wheel is stuck on the end of the axle. So the axles are at roughly the same angle.
And isn't there a unit?
Should be roughly the same angle.
Isn't there a universal joint out the outer edge?
No.
There's no universal
Swing
joint.
axle.
Then I don't know. Well, lost maybe a pound or so, which I think could be just as easily the fittings that I kind of quickly screwed on here. I really think that the sections of the boiler are probably fine. So I'm going to call it good. Yeah, we got a couple more fittings here it could be. So I will depressurize it and we'll call it good. 1.363. Let's take it to 1.3125. Finish cut of 9.5 thousandths. That went about 1 thousandths under. That's not a big deal. Like it says, we're freestyling this. Now we're going to use the same trick to turn down the hex into a round 1/2 inch deep, and those will press into the plates and be welded. So I've got a 1/2 inch gauge block sandwiched in my micro stop there. And we are just touching the end of the part. It would be nice if we could take these down in one pass. I don't know if I can do that or not. Set this up to do basically a full cleanup. Let's see what happens. It's working okay. Let's see what diameter we're working to. 806. I think we'll take that to 0.75. So we'll make it so these go into a 3/4 inch drilled hole. 757. Get a couple thousand smaller. Okay, I've got the mating piece set up in the K&T, and we're going to do two things. We're going to enlarge that hole so that basically this piece drops in, and I've got it dialed up so I should have about 5 thousandths clearance. One of the first things I want to do is lower the quill and establish a 0. There we go. So first thing I'll do is a witness line going around, and then we will do a total depth of 0.1875, and that will be about 20 thousandths clearance, 25 thousandths clearance less than this. We want this to protrude on the back side. We've got a 5/8 solid carbide end mill. All right, let's go in maybe 3 passes around. 100 thousandths deep per. Yep, once all the burrs are pushed down, we'll be good. Okay, so now we just make a larger counterbore so that this drops in. So I increase the offset to 0.5625, and that does the right math to give us a 1.75 OD counterbore. Do the same trick, establish a 0. That's almost perfect. And a total depth of 0.1875, half the material thickness. So we'll do 100 thousandths and then the 0.875. Contact. Here again, I'm going the wrong direction. Okay, so here's my intent. With this clamped, that guy swivels. So it's just standing proud of that surface. And then this will be plug welded to the underside of the 1/2x3 plates, letting that front caster swivel. Well, I think I'm going to break this in half for now and do a two-part video. Finish up the milling and drilling and installation of the base on the Peerless hacksaw to get that thing moved around. And the other projects are stacking up. Well, I got a hoist to hang up on the outside porch area. I've got the front end accessory drive components to make for the Spitfire project. I need to get a small boring bar. I've got my little snap ring groove tool. Got to do an accurate internal bore for that bearing, that double row bearing. I've got a switch to install for the K&T for the spindle. Keith Rucker helped me find one, the right brand, and it's a 2-position center off switch with over center protection, I'm going to call it. So that's got to go in, get rid of that dongle that I have in starting that switch right now. Got the radial arm saw parts to mill. So to do that, I have to take everything off the table of the K&T. Got to take the rotary table off, got to take the vise off, and this thing just barely fits on the machine portion of the table to where I can get at it. So that's going to be an interesting project, machining into that hard cast iron. I need to get a cutter for that to do an undercut inside the quill clamp area. I don't know that I can do that with a boring bar. I might be able to, come down and just control how high I go, project out beyond the actual registration bores there, but lots of things to do in the future. So thank you very much for all your support, all the new subscriptions. Keep hitting the like button and tell your buddies about my channel. I'm trying to grow it, get more exposure out there so I can do more for everybody. And we'll be back again with part 2 of the Peerless hacksaw base next week. So until then, as always, from Engineers Workshop, stay safe.